Now, I think it was 3 or 4 years ago, whatever it was pre-COVID time. I went to visit my friend Joan, who lives in Antigonish, Nova Scotia. And we spent a couple of days touring Cape Breton and seeing God's country. It's so beautiful there. And on the way, we happened upon the Iona Heritage Center and the Highland Village Museum. It's a collection of pioneer buildings that were gathered from the early Scot settlement there near Brador Lake in Nova Scotia. And in the village is a United Church that was rafted to the village site from its former location across Brador Lake. The congregation of the Malagawatch Church dates back to 1724, and it is thought to be the site of the first Sunday school in Canada. And I have a story to tell about the Malagawatch Church from the perspective of some of its tiniest members. I hope you enjoy the story of the Malagawatch Church Mice. The Malagawatch Mice and the Church That Sailed, written and illustrated by Carolyn Stellings. For 100 years and even more, there sat a church beside the shore, where songs rang out from every pew, and people sang in Gaelic too. And there, beside the river banks, beneath their feet, below the planks, another group gave prayer of thanks. Their kin came from the Hebrides with nothing but a piece of cheese, their only wealth a tartan quilt, sewn from squares of each clan's kilt. They settled underneath the floor in June of 1884. To earn their keep, they'd dust and sweep for generations evermore. Above the boards each passing day, less people came, folks moved away. Then one night the gavel fell. Church council said, "We have to sell." A resolution was approved. The church they loved would have to move. It wouldn't go by truck or rail, nor bounce along some bumpy trail. For safety's sake, they'd use the lake. To Iona they would sail. Faced with such a sorry plight, the church mice held a vote that night. They had no options to discuss. Their choice, it was unanimous. The only thing that they could do was buy a boat and sail there too. But first they'd have to raise the cash. They all got busy in a flash. The ladies planned a rummage sale and sent out flyers in the mail to all their friends across the dale. The men did jobs around the town, like stacking cones for Mrs. Brown. The kids made rings of beads and things fallen from past wedding gowns. Although the church mice did their best, they never even stopped to rest. Their total earnings still fell short, which left them with a last resort. They'd nothing left. Their shelves were bare, no pots, no pans, no silverware. The only thing they'd left to spare, their antique quilt, each clan's kilt like none else anywhere. Sorrow struck and filled with dread, they went to auction off their spread. They had no choice, those little mice, going once, going twice. Before the auctioneer yelled sold, Grandpa said, "I may be old, but there is one thing that I know. Without your roots, you'll never grow." He took the quilt down off the nail. Our heritage is not for sale. As Grandpa stood there on the block, the building's walls began to rock. A wrecking bar, a saw, a jack. The mice jumped out the nearest crack. Their church was towed along the road, and it wasn't coming back. In a hurry, in a haste, the mice, they had no time to waste. They ran until their feet were sore and found a raft beside the shore. This bold attempt was sure to fail. Their makeshift craft, it had no sail. Honk, honk, the tugboat blared its horn as church and barge were waterborne. On the edge of tears and asking why, they watched their home go gliding by. In deep despair they said a prayer, their eyes upon the sky. Then suddenly, Right then, right there, they felt a breeze, a gust of air. It soon began a windy blast and whirled around them lightning fast. Whoosh, it caught their tartan spread. Pass the board, old Grandpa said. He tied the quilt on like a sail. Thanks to our kin, we will prevail. And now folks come from far away to see the church that sailed that day. The songs they ring out like before, above and underneath the floor. They will, this time, forevermore. The end. And here's a picture of the Malagawatch Church at the Iona Historical Center near Brador Lake in Nova Scotia. And songs ring out there evermore.